Right guys, welcome back, and hopefully this may be the last video for Tyberos, depending on how I feel when I see the finished product. But today we're going to base this guy up. I'm really happy with the way the models turned out. I don't know if I want to weather him or not. I may think about that once I see the finished product, but let me zoom out and we will start basing Tyberos up. So let's move him up there, of course watching over what I'm doing. So 40mm base, and I conveniently found a piece of slate that I feel, when I find the right angle for it again, would go quite nicely for his base and his stance. I feel something along those lines. I did have it set the right way, maybe there. I had it set a specific way when I was just playing around with it, but now I can't seem to work it out. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think maybe that. Let's bring him a bit closer. There. It's a bit difficult to see because the camera is slightly up off the table, but along those lines. So let's get this bad boy glued down. You can use two things. You can use either hot glue or super glue. Super glue and hot glue, both very, very quick, and of course you're going to need something like that to glue the piece of slate down, as PVA 10 probably won't stick it. Let's have a look. Nice big globs of super glue on there. Now obviously there is going to be a big gap underneath, but I've got a solution to the problem before it is even a problem. Just give that a few seconds to start drying. I've got some stones. These are actually decorative stones out of B&M Bargains. You've probably seen me use them on basing tutorials and everything before. I got a massive tub for like 50p. So yeah, let's see if that's about dry. Yeah, that's just about dry. I'm going to stick a load of rocks under here now, just as gap filler basically. So let's get some nice amount of super glue in there when it decides it wants to come out, and that's probably why I've nearly run out. Definitely have to get some more super glue. So now that there's some in there, I'll just wedge some of the bigger rocks down in place. Maybe just fill the smaller gaps in there. There we go, I'm happy with that. So what you want to do now is obviously let the super glue set a little longer than what I'm going to here, but we're going to actually put some sand on it just to try and fill it out a little bit as well. Now I've got some PVA on my palette here. I'm going to use an old knackered brush. These are just cheap brushes from like the pound shop or something that I use for terrain and basing. So what we'll do is we'll get the PVA wedged right in there. See, I don't mind if the bristles get a little bit clogged up with super glue here. Like I said, it is just literally a cheap brush. And then get some across the front there. And then what we're going to do is, I always keep some dried sharp sand. I get this from a builder's merchant. I paid about £1.20 for a bag when I first started back in the hobby, and nearly all my bases are done with this, and I haven't even used half the bag yet. So literally dip it in, give it a bit of a swirl, and then just give it a couple of taps just to get everything off. And then anything that's left around the edges, because it's just PVA, you can literally just use your thumb to wipe around like that and just get any excess off. And there we go, that's his base for the minute. We'll obviously now have to let that dry and come back to you shortly. Right, so there we go, the base is now entirely dried and we're going to get this thing painted up. For bases I tend not to use GW paints, I tend to use cheap acrylics from the likes of B&M, Home Bargains, Wilkinson's, things like that. So I'm going to use this one. I think I might be getting this one in Hobbycraft for about £2 or so. I'm just putting quite a large lump on my palette now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint up all of the rocks in this colour, just to try and give it a nice thick base coat. Again, I'm just using my cheapo brush and just put this on quite latheringly. Make sure we get a nice thick coat on there, but so that you can still see obviously all of the details on the rock. Now, depending on how long you've left this, you might get a few little bits of grit here and there that still move around. It's absolutely fine if that's the case. Just adds to the texture really, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this guy looks like on the base when he's fully complete. Really, really excited. Oops, see, loose bit there. Doesn't really make that much difference if I'll take that lump off. Make sure you're getting all the gaps there as well. And then I'm going to make sure I get all these rocks painted up in here as well. I think that's about it for the grey. And then I'm going to use brown. This one is definitely from Home Bargains because I recognise it. And what I'm going to do is just paint the bits of sand around the bases of each of the rocks there, just to try and make it a bit more sort of mud, earthy looking. So it looks as though the rocks are protruding out of the ground. And you can be as neat or as rough as you want with this. It doesn't matter if the colours sort of blend into each other or overlap a little bit. It's quite hard to get some decent light on this because of the angle of the slope I put on, but we'll try none the same. And then I'm just going to do some of that gravel there, more brown, and then grey. There you go, we'll let that dry and come back shortly. Right, so welcome back now that this is dried up, and we're going to dry brush the dirt or gravel parts, and we're going to use GW Screaming Skull. And just get a little bit on my brush. And we're going to dry brush this just very lightly. In fact, that's probably even too much. Just picking off the edges of the gravel just to lighten the mud parts up a little bit, and that's all there is to that bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dry brush the whole of the rock in white. I'm not going to use GW white, I'm going to use a cheap white that we got from Home Bargains, or B&M rather, this one. And we're just going to dry brush that entire rock. Just squeeze some out onto my palette. And with this, I'm not going to go too heavy with it at all. Yep, straight away I can see that it's too much. There we go. I love slate when you dry brush it. It just picks up all the grain and everything, all the nooks and crannies, all the lumps and bumps, and it looks, in my opinion, really fantastic. So just give it a very light dry brush, and then what you can do is, once you've covered a lot of it with a light dry brush, we can go back over it, just grabbing the outer edges. Let's get a little bit more. So basically, once you've done the majority highlight quite lightly, we'll get around to that in a minute. As you can see, this isn't particularly bright, it doesn't particularly grab all of the detail, but it covers the majority of the piece of slate. And now what we'll do is we will dry brush again, this time with more white paint on, only wiping a small amount off, and what I'm going to do is just follow the ridges just so that the ridges stand out a little more than the rest of it. And as you can see there, piece along there, it stands out a lot more. And down that edge there as well. Ooh. Maybe it's just add a little bit more to that ridge there. There we go. So the next stage that we're going to do is we're going to add some flock. Now the flock I use, I believe it's by Woodland Scenics. I don't remember the name of it as I've kept it in a tub for so long. Let's just get out of camera. There you go. Pretty sure it's Woodland Scenics and it's called something turf. I'm really sorry I don't remember the name of it, but we're going to go back, grab some PVA. I've still got some on my palette from earlier. I'm just going to add a couple of bits of PVA to the rock along there, and just take a bit of that off and just add some bits and pieces to the edges here as well. Maybe just add a little bit in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dip it in. I'll just zoom out. Actually, I can't. So I'll try and get this on camera for you and just sprinkle it on where the PVA glue has gone. And we'll give it a nice big tap, get all the excess off, and give it a blow. There we go. Let's just have a quick zoom back in on that. And there you go, you can see just little bits and pieces just to try and add a bit of texture and blend to the base. The next stage though is we're going to add some static grass, and this is from Army Painter. And I'm going to use field grass. And this stuff is fantastic. I'm only probably going to put a little bit around the side here. Actually, I don't really want any on the top of the rock. So again, just grab a little bit of PVA on your brush. Again, any PVA work I tend to use my old brush for. And it doesn't matter really if it gets clogged up. I wouldn't recommend using GW brushes for this kind of work. So I think if we have a nice lump there, get a bit more glue on. A nice lump there, perhaps some there, and where do we think? There. And then it's pretty much the same with the fluff. It's just sprinkle it on, but sometimes what I like to do is just kind of pat it on, make sure it's all absorbed. Well, the glue absorbs a good chunk of it. Just pat it in place and then tap it off. And then we'll just give that a quick blow as well. And there we go. So the final thing to do with this base is we're basically just going to rim the base, paint the rim of it. And what we'll do is, I like me marines done in black. So I'm just going to get some Abaddon black. I'm just going to use the big brush for this actually. And we're nearly done. Absolutely cannot wait to see this guy fully complete. Tidy that front edge round. And there we go. Nice scenic base. So the finishing touch, of course, is the model. So I'm just going to double check the positioning of them, and then I'll use what's left of my super glue to get them glued into place. So Let's have a quick look. Definitely more up bank. Only problem is with the slate, obviously, is trying to get a nice balance with the model, and I think probably there. Luckily one foot is flat and one is raised, so you can pretty much get away with a lot of different positions. Providing I can get the last bits of my super glue out, of course. Right, sorry about that, I had to cut the lid off the glue there to get it on, to get the glue out even. And I think we'll place them right there. Just hold them there for a few moments. And like I said at the beginning, I think this guy needs to appear in a battle report. Captain Steve of the Blood Angels. When he eventually sticks, that is. So yeah, I've seriously enjoyed painting this miniature, and it's really nice to actually go back and paint a Blood Angel. I don't think I've painted a Blood Angel in at least 6, 7, 8 months possibly. So he's going to dry off. Let's adjust the camera and get some close-ups. So here we go then, guys. Captain Steve of the Blood Angels, or Tyberos the Red Wake as a Blood Angel captain, and I absolutely love this model. I've thoroughly enjoyed painting it. It's been nice to paint some Blood Angels up again, or a Blood Angel at least, and I'm quite pleased with the job that I've actually done. And I can only say a massive thank you to Steve Down for this gift. It is absolutely phenomenal, Steve. Thank you so much indeed. He's a fantastic, beautiful model, and I seriously hope you have all enjoyed watching the series of the build and paints with him. I have got a few other models and units which I need to build and paint as well, so hopefully if I get good responses for this series, I'm more than happy to do a few more. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll pop a close-up photo of the guy, of Captain Steve, at the end of the video. But let me know what your thoughts are on the series, what your thoughts are on the model, and thanks very much for watching.